I'm not here to teach you what to think. I'm here to teach you how to think. Hello and welcome to An Introduction to Alternative Relationships 101. I'm Frank B Kermit. Today we're going to be talking about relationship structures. Specifically, those structures for non-monogamous relationships. That's the point of this lecture. It is a lecture for an introduction to relationships that are non-monogamous. So let's go right into it. There's two types of relationships: monogamous relationships and non-monogamous relationships, also called polyamory. Now, why do we use the word alternative? We use the word alternative because what most people in North American society consider a mainstream relationship is a monogamous relationship. Monogamous is defined as a relationship between two people who do not have sex with other people. They only have sex with each other. Let's add to that a traditional monogamous relationship will also have the expectation with it that neither person in the couple will put themselves in a position where the monogamy of their relationship is threatened. For example, if a man and a woman are together in a monogamous relationship and a third person, let's say in this case a woman, has interests in the man will not put himself knowingly into situations where the third person, the woman, would have the opportunity to seduce him and cause him to be sexually unfaithful to his primary partner. How far can this interpretation go? It can go very far depending on the individual. There are some people who would consider things like watching pornography an act of infidelity. So you have a man and a woman that are together, and one of them looks at pornography. The other one may feel that the pornography is now a threat to the monogamy of the relationship. Now, let's be very clear that it's not that the man is going to have sex with the actual pornographic video that he's watching. It's the fact that seeing these constant images may cause a repeating behavior pattern that he's going to want to see other people be sexual that are not his primary partner. And it's not the pornography itself, but what the pornography can lead to. This is why some people feel that viewing pornography is an act of infidelity. At present time, there are only two types of monogamous relationships that can happen: a monogamous relationship between a heterosexual couple and a monogamous relationship between a homosexual couple, whether they be two men or two women. Regardless of gender, the point of monogamy that everybody interprets is to say that the two people coming together will not engage in any sexual activity with any third party. And with that comes the presupposition that neither person in the couple will put themselves in a situation where the monogamy in the relationship will be threatened. So a lot of the new attitudes towards monogamy that says, well, you don't really own each other. Well, it's okay if your partner goes off to the movies with somebody else. They're really great in theory, but the fact is, they're putting somebody at the risk of breaking their monogamous promise. And that's what makes them an issue. When I grew up, I learned that monogamy was just what was going to be expected. As a young kid, it never occurred to me that the idea of being in an open relationship was even possible. You would eventually meet somebody, fall in love, have a relationship, start your own family. The idea that your relationship could be threatened at all wasn't even a factor. I grew up in a household where my parents stayed together for many, many years, and I was never aware of any of the threats that my parents would have faced to their monogamous relationship. So even though as a child I had interest in the idea of having more than one girlfriend or having more than one partner, it never occurred to me that was even a possibility. I thought, well, sure, I may be thinking it, but no, that's never going to happen. As I got older, I realized that although I felt it was expected of me to simply enter a monogamous relationship, that not everybody followed this particular pattern. People did cheat. People did have sex before marriage. People sometimes had group sex activities. And people did get divorced. I'll tell you this one story. I was a kid, and this was in my early years of high school, and I remember reading an article in the newspaper about a man who had gotten AIDS. And as I'm looking through this article, I see a picture of the man lying in a hospital bed. He was being tended to by his sister, And his sister said, oh, he must have caught it from a woman because my brother was not gay. And I just remember thinking to myself, this was when AIDS was still very new to me. I had no concept really of the entire sexual revolution. It was very, very surprising to me. The idea that this guy would have caught AIDS from a woman suggested, of course, that he would have gone out and had sex with a woman. So the question that came into my mind is, wow, how often are people doing that? I mean, obviously he must know who that girl is. It's not like he can possibly be having sex with a lot of different people. People don't just get together to have sex. As I got older and I found myself getting into opportunities to be sexual with people, I started to realize that people are having sex a lot more than they may be telling me. People may have secret lives that I don't know about. And that made me realize that there is an entire world out there that I'm missing out on. And when I say missing out, I'm not talking about the fact that, oh, I should be participating too. It was a world that I was kept ignorant about. Every time I really liked a girl, I would automatically be assuming, well, if I really like her and she likes me back, she's going to be my girlfriend and then she's going to be my wife and then we're going to get married. And I started building up this entire life with a girl that I hardly had conversations with. And when you build up something like that in your mind and then you actually go and ask the girl out on a date and she says no, the pain that comes from that rejection feels like such a tremendous loss, but not because she said no to me, but because that entire life that I had built up in my head all of a sudden was no more. So the sense of loss was in part a form of mourning for a life that I had built up that never existed.